Oh. Did my prescription get filled?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll go do it.
No worries. I was just wondering. I'm fine for now. I'm gonna worry about that now. I was just wondering.
I'll get it before you start the show at the very least.
Yeah, no worries. It'll be fine. What's that?
Timer's still there.
Yeah.
Move that amount.
Yep. God, he's right. He's so cute.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you so cute? You gonna come and do a potty or what? Wandering D. Kitty, 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 kitty. Too cute. I don't even know what to do in the morning sometimes. Just like cute, cute, cute. Too much adorable around me.
You're pretty cute yourself there.
I don't know about that.
It doesn't matter if you think you're cute. It just matters that I think you're cute.
Good point. Good point. She makes a good point. Why you not talk to us? Because read back the last 5 things. Read back the last 5 things outside the box to yourself and ask yourself, what would you even respond to the nonsense gobbledygook that has been posted in this chat? What would you even say? Paul, why'd you start those fires? Real funny. Chicken nuggets. There you go. Sup, dude? There you go. What's your body count? 700. Where are you from, buddy? All over the place, bud. There's a spider on my fence. Oh no. Better call the cops.
Takes probably like at least 5 minutes for like a decent amount of people to come in, huh?
Well, sometimes, like usually what happens is the first few people that come in are actually people that hang out here.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's stuff to say. But like today it was just immediate. Like just immediately skibbity as fuck. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Go straight to skibbity.
You gotta go down there. Let me get you some coffee.
Sure. I just started it, so okay. It might still be brewing. Might still be a brewing. But yeah, coffee. Coffee. Need coffee. When I I was a what? No, when I was an IT guy, what did I care about? What did I hate? I don't remember. I don't. I honestly don't. I don't think about my former job all that often. And what was my least favorite thing fucking 6 years ago? I don't know. How's the bud out here? It's pretty fucking good. Do 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 do, one baby to another said, I'm lucky to meet you. Do 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 do. You like Creed? No. They gave Invisible Woman Jiggle physics. Cool. Gotta love those Chinese, man. Gotta love the Chinese. They're not, they're doing full jiggle physics in their games. You gotta give it props, man. Going all the way back to jiggle physics. That's a deep dive,
It's the jiggliest game you've played.
There was a game called Dead or Alive Volleyball that was literally just jiggle physics the game.
Yeah.
Dead or Alive's a fighting game with a bunch of hot chicks in it. And they did a volleyball game where you played volleyball and you could unlock different skimpier bikinis for them to wear while they played volleyball. And the jiggle physics were out of control. Shit would never stop. Like, they would do that. When you won, they would go like, yeah, and like do a pose, and the titties would just go. Pretty damn jiggly game. Pretty jiggly.
I don't know if it compares to some of the hentai games that are out now, though.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't played any of those, so I wouldn't know how jiggly those are. Most of those, from the ones that pop up on Steam, most of those are just like text-based with pictures. Like, they don't really go crazy with the sex games like they should. Dude. This chat is woe-begotten this morning. What the fuck is wrong with all of you? Kids are in school, so you guys don't even have that fucking excuse.
I should be back from winter break and all that shit now.
Kids are back in school. So what the fuck is wrong with all of you today? I swear to God, man, it's like fucking 10-year-olds in here today. This is an 18+ stream. Get the fuck out if you're retarded, please. You're just gonna get escorted out by one of my wrenches. So.
Did he go down with you earlier at all, or no? You just prissy this morning, D?
Why are you being such a priss? Is this your week off from the show? No, we got a show today. Right? Friday?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay, yeah.
Unless snow fucking obliterates shit.
Yeah, the dudes are in some heavy snow situations, so it might be a little crazy, but we'll see. I'm 16 and not in school yet. Well, you're banned. You're not allowed to be in here. I don't give a fuck. You're not allowed to be in here if you're a child or you have the mentality of a child. Like, if I can't tell the difference between you and a fucking 10-year-old, your ass is gone. Like, wow, this chat is pretty horrible. It's been really bad the last two. Like, I did one last night that was just pretty bad, but this is the worst one in weeks. Yeah, easily the worst one in weeks. So congrats. It's your bad? No, it really isn't. You can't even main character syndrome this one. How do they even find this stream? I'm guessing from right now that they've got a teacher that doesn't pay attention to them sneaking and looking at their phone. So I'm guessing they're sitting in the 4th grade classroom right now with their phone in their lap. Like that's my honest best guess. Is that a bunch of kids in school have a teacher that doesn't pay attention and they're literally just on the phone in their lap typing whatever fucking bullshit comes to their mind. Vertical stream scrolling. No, I understand that. Like, I get how people find that. I just don't get how so many fucking 12-year-olds have unrestricted access to their phone in the middle of the morning. We're all out of school. Ban that. Oh yeah, it's absolutely shocking to me that there hasn't been a cell phone ban at schools. I honestly don't understand it. I think it's literally because parents think that if their child doesn't have a cell phone, that their kid is going to die and they're not going to know. Like, I really do not understand why your child should ever even bring a cell phone to school.
It's like there's this thing called the phones that the teachers have, that the school has.
Yeah, the principal in the front office has all your family's contact information, and if there's a fucking emergency, guess what? They call your parents. So why does your kid need to have a fucking cell phone? Period. Not just in school. Period. But you see what happens when you pass it out.
Like the main argument I see is like, oh, like on their way to and from, they might need to contact someone. But that's why, turn it in when you walk in the door and get it when you get it.
Fuck the to and from shit. That's such bullshit.
Yeah.
Well, I heard on TJ's channel that you're a Taoist now. Is that true? Yes. What age do you feel a child should have access to phone, social media? Like, not till they're teens, at least.
Maybe when they're old enough to work or something.
Yeah, like when you're old enough to get a work permit and go and get a little part-time job, I'll get you a fucking phone. How's that? But only until you get a work permit and get a part-time job, because that's going to be your first bill. You're going to learn how to pay bills with your first job. And your first bill is going to be your cell phone bill. Went to school in the 90s and the 2000s. We're all fine without phones. Yeah. I went to school in the 80s and 90s. I graduated in 1998. There was no such thing as a cell phone. Beepers were a thing that they were trying to ban from schools. A couple of kids would have pagers that would go off in the class, and they'd get busted for that and get their pagers confiscated, right? There was no cell phones. I had a calling card that my mom got for me that was loaded with enough minutes to make emergency calls. So if I needed my mom, I would go to the payphone, use the calling card, get my mom on the phone, or go to the front office and have them call her. You know what I mean? It's just, there was no need. There was no need at all to be in touch with my parents 24/7, 365, or anybody else. So it serves no purpose in the school environment. It should be gone. They don't let you sit there and play video games in class.
Now they do.
Well, yeah, that's true. They put you on fucking like computer lab time, and you just sit there and play fucking dumbass, empty-headed games.
Sorry, now just every kid has a laptop.
Yeah, it's retarded. I know, when they wonder why kids aren't fucking learning, maybe they're distracted. Maybe them being distracted by all the crap they've got in their pockets has something to do with it. Also, the script that they make teachers teach by now has a lot to do with it as well. Standardization is what they call that.
When they rolled out the Chromebooks in my high school, there really wasn't a whole lot of restrictions, like on the internet. Like you could just go on Facebook, on Twitter.
So you've told me that before, and that's just like wild to me, because there were 3 layers of access, you know, and if you were a general or student login, you got 0 social media, 100% pre-approved list of educational websites only.
They like wanted to encourage us to use it as like a tool to talk to each other.
Well, why?
I don't know, but like they had the little.
Aren't you in class together?
Yeah, they had little assemblies, and they're like, "Oh, everyone hop on Twitter," and then the assembly will show the cool tweets up on the board.
No.
So like, yeah, they were pretty much encouraging us to be on social media.
Trying to be too cool.
Yeah.
Look, you can't keep kids off of social media, but you can keep kids from using it while they're at your school. And there's a million different ways to do that.
You go on Amazon on the fucking internet.
Yeah, you could.
I don't know, it might have been a laziness thing. Like, they didn't want to put in the multiple layers, and the teachers wanted all those sites, so they're like...
Yep. Not to mention the terrible temper tantrums these kids have when you take phones and tablets away from them. It's clearly an addiction. Well, that's the thing, is like, it's established that device addiction is a thing, right? We know for an absolute fact that adults get so attached to their phones that they'll have a panic attack if they can't find it or it stops working. So why are we giving those things to children? We know they're addictive. We know that they cause a feedback loop in the brain that becomes an addictive behavior. Why are we allowing children to sit there and rot their fucking brains on it? I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I know that fucking the next 2 generations are really going to be the ones that pay in blood for it, because they're not going to be able to read. They're going to have no social ability, and they're not going to be able to read. So that's going to suck for them and for the rest of us until middle school, and even then their devices stay at home. I mean, I would be, yeah, that seems reasonable, you know what I mean? It's better than like plopping a tablet in your toddler's lap. I see that shit all the time. It's like a babysitter device. Bring it for your kid.
Bumpers on it,
Yep.
so the kid can drop it 100 times.
Yep, bring it for your kid so you can take your kid out to socialize, which is, by the way, where kids learn how to speak, how to interact with other people. They learn new words and new phraseologies. Their language centers are all stimulated when you take a kid out into a group of people and go to dinner or go to a thing. Now you bring the thing so your kid will shut up. And your kid sits there and may as well be sitting in their bedroom at home. But you're out and about paying a bunch of money to go out with your kid. It boggles my fucking mind, bro. I know I sound so boomerish ranting about this. I know I do. But it really is something that fucking boggles my mind. To go out into public and to see so many young people that aren't even paying attention to what's fucking going on. And when I say young people, I'm not talking about teens. I'm talking about fucking toddlers and up. It's nuts. And it's sad. Sad for the kids. Because, I mean, I deal all the time with, and I'm not trying to fucking shit on anybody in here, but you saw that wave of retardism at the beginning of this. I can almost guarantee you that a lot of that was kids that grew up with the internet plugged right into their fucking head. They can't relate. They don't know how to relate to people. Everything is gamified with them.
Not even want to go down
The study's gonna be wild.
Mama will go down with you.
the way they're using these devices, by they I mean 20 somethings, there's barely any applicable skills learned. Had to show a coworker how to create a spreadsheet, 23 years old, no Excel. I mean, yeah, no. Like that was a wild thing. I learned it like probably 5 years ago, and it blew my mind then, because my generation was so into technology, right? Like my generation was the first generation to really adopt the internet, personal computers, technology, cell phones, right? And so, like, for me, my thought process has always been like, dude, kids are going to be into this shit. But the truth of the matter is that after my generation, children's aptitude with computers and technology fell off a fucking cliff. And it's absolutely true. Kids don't know how to navigate a PC now, can't do basic troubleshooting shit. Most kids can't navigate a word processor, let alone an Excel spreadsheet. You know what I mean? It's like my generation of kids we were all good at that shit. Like we helped our parents with it when our boomer ass parents, our literal boomer parents, couldn't get the fucking phone to work, couldn't get the computer to turn on, couldn't get the program to load. We were there. And now it's like the opposite. Now my generation is raising a generation of children that are completely illiterate to technology. Yeah. Playing a video game on PS5 is not being good with computers. Being real quick on your iOS device is not being good with computers. I'm talking about you don't know how to troubleshoot shit. You don't know how to use computers.
Well, those Chromebooks don't have that stuff. They're meant to be like
Right.
pretty much.
Well, they're stripped down.
A browser on a device.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't have a problem with Mac devices. I think simplified tech for personal use is really good and shit. But yeah, I mean, when you strip things completely down to just like, what app do I open? Nobody's going to know how to do anything. Kids are no longer interested in technology beyond the utility it can provide them. You know what I mean? It's just not something kids give a fuck about anymore, right? It's not a privilege to them. It is it's a utility. It's something that it's like the water coming on in the faucet. They just expect it. Like Amelia, you've got a sibling that's right around the age range we're kind of talking about, younger teen. And last time we saw them, that particular sibling was on the phone probably 80% of the time we were hanging out. You know what I mean? I'm not making a critique about it. I'm saying that is indicative of that generation. It's just, you know what I mean? Like conversationalism, and I'm not even critiquing yours. I'm just saying, I'm just pointing it out that we see it in our families. We see it in public. You know what I mean? And this sort of thing is...
But not with your nieces, really.
Well, I don't want to hold up my family or that side of my family as some sort of paragon, because I don't really agree with the hyper religiosity in that household. But I will tell you this: none of my nieces and nephews are skibbity as fuck. None of my nieces and nephews are
on the phone the whole time.
On the phone, don't know how to socialize, don't know how to speak, don't know. None of my nieces and nephews have any problems with that. But they were not allowed to be on the internet when they were kids.
Or have unlimited TV.
They aren't given cell phones until they're way up in their teens. They don't sit in front of the fucking TV or play video games all day. You know, my sister and her fucking husband, to their credit, have raised those kids to be smart as a fucking whip. And they're not bored and... You know what I mean? You go and hang out over there, they're fucking crazy. They're always running around doing something, always playing, always drawing, making some art, playing with their friends, right? This is well-adjusted kids that don't have this fucking device addiction that I see playing out in the rest of the world. And nobody wants to talk about the social outcomes, right? because I think a lot of people are afraid that it will indict them.
Yeah, it's like, there's people that grew up on phones that are having kids now, and they're probably living like, well, do I
Well,
want to tell my kid do as I say, not as I do?
right. Or you've got people now, the people that grew up on devices having kids, right? They don't know how to live without it, so why would I deny it for my kids, right? There's a lot of people that have a major fucking problem, right? And they don't want to hear about it. La 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 la. They don't want to admit that it's a problem because everybody's doing it, man. But there are a lot of people that take just like, oh, I'm a little fascinated, spend a little bit of time on my phone to the extreme, right? And they're getting nothing done. They're spinning their wheels in the mud, doom scrolling Twitter, doom scrolling Instagram. Give me a little dopamine. Give me a little dopamine. Give me a little dopamine. I mean, probably well over half the people watching this arrived on this video exactly like that. A little bit of drool. Your third hour straight of just
We need to just do studies at this point. It's like, let's take.
they're doing them. Well, the problem is it's long term. Oh, are you talking about something else?
I'm talking about like the short term, like everyone like no phones for 24 hours, locked in a room together. See, like offer them like $500 if they stay the whole time, or
Oh Jesus, yeah. I mean, I think people would fucking go ape shit. I think some people would go ape shit.
beast games, but sciency.
Yeah, nobody wants to hear about technology being a problem because they like it too much. They're afraid that it's going to go away, and that is indicative of an addict. Like if you think that like social media disappearing tomorrow would be one of the worst things that ever happened to you, you've got problems, dude.
Like, I'm honestly surprised they can get away with these reality shows, like how they're able to find people that are willing to give up all their shit, because they have to be like all sequestered and cut off from the world on these reality shows.
Yeah, that's true. My school had a textiles and sewing class. We all had to do no class to teach you how to balance a budget. Yeah, I mean that is something that's sorely missing from high school. You see, I have some crazy ideas about schooling. I think that high school should be less about college prep and more about life prep. I think it should be both. I think that the people who have the aptitudes and who are on track to go to college should be given college prep. And I think that the people that don't have those aptitudes and are not on track to do that should be given life prep, right? So I think high school should be a combination of trade schools where kids are divided into their aptitudes and given a career, right? Or given an idea of what a career could be for them. And places where socialization and adult behavior are taught.
Well, the thing is, like, even with the college prep of schools, a lot of kids still have to end up doing remedial classes in college, anyways.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, people are being socially promoted so hard that they're coming out of high school completely unprepared for the leap of college. Completely. So we're failing at everything now. It's basically the Dutch education system. Well, borrow it, steal it. America's far behind in STEM. All STEM, right? America lags behind the rest of the world. We're something like 40th, 30th or something in the world in terms of overall educational quality and access. It's shameful. Shameful. And we're seeing the results of a collapsing educational system now. Human conversation is pretty much a dead art. Human beings are no longer interested in what's going on in the outside world because they're so wrapped up in whatever little fake fucking persona they've created for themselves online. You know what I mean? And we're reaping the whirlwind right now. Like, just go onto your social media right now. Do a little fucking test. Scroll until you find a retard. Scroll until you find a stupid person who was failed by the educational system. It won't take you many scrolls. And the next generation of kids that are about to join this ecology are going to be even worse, even less socially adapted, even more skibbity. Like, look at this dude. Oil up. This dude is on a Diddy oil joke from 6 months ago still. When's the last time you think that dude even touched a book? Even to move it out of the way so he could look for his cell phone, let alone cracked it. Got like a 4th grade speech pattern. You got 20-year-olds absolutely fundamentally obsessed with the shit they were watching when they were 8 and can't quote any fucking modern adult media that isn't Pokemon, right? In order to enjoy movies, people are stripping down good scenes from movies, adding jump cuts, and putting Sigma music behind it. So instead of going and watching There Will Be Blood, you get to see There's a Competition in Me. Dum 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 dum. I do not like it when people succeed. Dum 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 dum. That's how kids experience film now. 5-second Sigma edits. And that's the best you can do for quoting modern adult media. Dude, when I was a teenager and just below that, like I guess they call that a tween, I was obsessed with adult media, movies, music, books. And I wasn't alone. All of my friends were all into film by the time I was fucking 13. Probably before that. All of my friends were reading adult books and talking about fucking the news and shit by the time we were 14, 15. Right? Like, we were obsessed with shit that wasn't toodly toot too. It's the teapot man. Toodly toot too. It's the teapot man. Toodly, you know? It's like we wanted to get a jump on watching the stuff that was a little more challenging. We wanted to understand that stuff. Nowadays, dude, I spend 5-10 minutes talking to some of you, and it's like a tick. You're gonna reference a cartoon from when you were 8. There's gonna be a SpongeBob, there's gonna be a Harry Potter, there's gonna be something. We extend infancy. We're beyond that. We infantilize adults. How many times have you heard on social media this month, dude, that guy's with a 20-year-old. That's a literal child. It is? When did that happen? Dude, this guy's creepy. He's 90 years old and he's with a fucking 30-year-old. Literal grooming. It's like, Am I on the fucking same planet I was raised on? Like, what the fuck is going on? Yeah, why are we allowing literal children to go get their fucking limbs blown off in the military then? It's looking like the increased amount of exposure to a huge information library like the internet slows down their aging. Well, it's not the information library part of the internet that's slowing down their aging. It's the you ever like look over a toddler's shoulder when they're on one of them big iPads with the big rubber thing on it? And you go like, because it's just literal fucking boop, 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 boop. You just, huh? Just, yeah, I'm not exactly sure how to talk about it without sounding like an old man shaking his cane on his front porch. You know, I understand there's an element to that, but holy fuck, bro. I'm buried in it 24/7 in these chats, bro. I just see it over and over and over and over and over again. It's people who are on their own planet, people who are just intellectually stunted to the point where they're basically living the same mental life as they lived when they were 10, but they're 20 something. Can't reference a single adult piece of media. Don't know shit about shit because they were socially promoted through school, and then they're just dumped into society to work a low-end fucking mop job somewhere if they're lucky. Sorry if I missed it, but can you elaborate on what you mean by socially promoted? Social promotion is something that they will do in school in order to keep a child from being socially held back by their academic underachievement. So what'll happen is if you go to the third grade in America and at the end of the third grade you can't read, write, or do arithmetic, you're held back. But a lot of times being held back will stunt a person because the next year that they're in third grade, they don't learn anything either. So social promotion is just keeping you in class with kids that are your age and kind of ignoring your academic achievement. The idea being that it's probably better for you to be around peers than people that are 3 years younger than you, even if you're not learning anything. Like maybe you'll learn by proxy from your peers. I guess that's the idea of a social promotion, and it happens all the time, by the way. If it weren't for social promotions, the graduation rate from middle school and high school would be catastrophically lower. What are some solutions? Massive, massive, massive overhaul of the American educational system. Massive, massive increase in social funding. not just for schools, but for anti-drug programs and halfway houses and every other kind of fall through the cracks situation that keeps a kid out of school. That's the answer. Period. That's it. Yep. Can't just throw money at it, though. I worked for the school district for 8 years, and I saw how money flows through, and I saw how, the whole kind of interaction between instructors and administrators works. You cannot just throw money at the problem. Part of the problem is funding. Part of the problem is standardization. Part of the problem is the disparity in funding between rural, low-performing schools and rich, high-performing schools. There's a whole lot of things that need to be tackled. Corruption, straight out rank, pocket picking, tax appropriating corruption going on at the administrative level in a lot of school districts. You know how much money is fucking wasted on your school board and your superintendent? You should look into some shit, because I found out some shit working for the school district that blew my fucking mind. Like, look into whether your superintendent, the superintendent of your local school district, has a car allowance as part of his compensation package. And then see if you can find out what kind of car your superintendent's driving on your dime. I worked at a very rural, like, little school district. Not little, I mean, it was a pretty big school district, but it covered a huge county in a huge rural county. And definitely not a Mercedes-Benz type of place. But my school superintendent, on the taxpayers, cruised around that town in a high-end Mercedes. That's what he used his vehicle allowance for, to get a fucking $180,000 Mercedes and then cruise around in it. Right? So the amount of corruption, the amount of headhunting that goes on in the upper levels of the administration side is just like such a waste of time. The taxpayers of that area would pay a superintendent, right, to come in, take over the job, work for a year, and then some other district in some area of the world that's more appealing will come and hire that superintendent, and you get a whole new superintendent. So everything that superintendent did for a year goes by the wayside. Now you got a new leader. And that happens 3-4 times in 8 years. You got to give me a fucking break. Right? So much money's going right down the administrative toilet. That needs to be reclaimed and given to the schools, to the teachers, basically. Yeah. Meanwhile, yeah, teachers are having to come out of their own pocket to buy pencils and paper, while the superintendent pulls up in his Mercedes. You gotta fucking be kidding me. You gotta be kidding. But that's the way it is. That ain't never gonna work. You want to donate to a school? Don't donate to their computers. I'm dead ass fucking serious. Do not. Don't do it. One of the biggest, and people are going to fucking, this will probably be controversial. I would say the single biggest waste of public funds when it comes to school is technology. %. You cannot computer a teacher instructing your child. There is no computer facsimile for that, and every minute your child spends on a computer is a minute they could be getting direct instruction from an actual human being, which is how people really learn. Put a fucking dry erase whiteboard in the class and let the teacher teach. Stop distracting kids midway through class with an hour worth of video game time on the fucking computer lab and calling it educational. Put a whiteboard up. Get the teacher some butcher paper and some markers and some crayons and some pencils and some paper and let them fucking teach. Yep, keep them class sizes below 20 if possible, but no higher than 20. When I left the school district, and this is like 6 years ago now, 45 to 1. 45 kids per class was the average class size in my school district. "45 to 1 teacher was the average." That's no teacher's aide. All right, so it's not 2 teachers co-teaching. It's 1 teacher, 45 kids. But let's buy a bunch of brand new iMacs instead of putting in 10 new classrooms and getting those class sizes down. See what I mean? The biggest trap that parents fall into when they're harassing their school district about spending money is the, ooh, look at those shiny computers trap. Do you know, okay, I will tell you guys this. And you got to just take it from me, okay, dude? I was a technology consultant and a network administrator for the school district for 8 fucking years. Do you know what the main concern of technology was? We want parents to be impressed when they look into the classroom. So I had to set up every classroom so that you could see the computers from the outside of the classroom through the window. So that when parents walked up, the first thing they saw was 10 nice computers. Do you know how many millions of dollars a year were spent on technology that was worthless? Absolutely worthless. So if you're a parent, you got a kid in school and you're harassing your school board, you tell them what I said. You tell them you're not impressed with technology. You don't want your kid sitting in front of a computer. You want your kid sitting in front of a teacher getting individualized instruction. Why is it worthless? Because, okay, well, there were a number of reasons. No, the first and foremost, we had modern iMac computers, modern devices on a Cat 1.2 network. Because it's not sexy. You can't show the parents, ooh, look at this brand new MDF stack. Ooh, look at this brand new Cat 6 cabling in all the walls. It's not sexy. So I was in charge of hooking up hundreds of new devices every year, modern devices, to a Cat 1.2 backbone. Cat 1.2 being the standard fucking Ethernet cable that was used in like 1998. It was bullshit. When the kids would have, quote, computer time, you know what they did? They went and played stupid games on a stupid fucking educational games website. Like, shouldn't they be doing something with a teacher instructing them? Isn't that why I send my kids to school? They can sit and fucking brain rot themselves out at my house. And the educational games are only nominally so. Only nominally. It's basically just little shitty JavaScript games. It's brain rot shit. And kids are doing it for hours a week? Are you kidding me? For what? Yeah, nobody was playing Counter-Strike at my school, but like I don't have any children, but if I did, my number one concern would be what is the size of the class that my child is sitting in? 40 children? That's unacceptable. I'd be down at that fucking school board meeting every fucking week. And the word computers, technologies, projectors, and smartboards would never pass my lips unless it was to call out the school district for wasting money on them. What's your opinion on Chromebooks? Pointless. Waste of time, worthless things, unless you're talking about maybe at the high school level. That's when you want kids to start learning how to do research paper and stuff like that. But yeah, dude, if there's anybody doing Chromebooks at the elementary or middle school level, complete waste. Complete waste of money. Projectors and smartboards, complete waste of money. Complete waste of money. Fancy looking schlock that does nothing to help kids. So if you're in a school district that's trying to wow you with all these new computers, but your kid's sitting in a classroom where there's 35 or more fucking kids, you need to wake up. Because all of that millions and millions of dollars to put projectors and smart boards and PCs in your kids' class could have been spent on building 5 or 6 more classrooms and hiring 5 or 6 more teachers. The smart boards are just bullshit. Most of the teachers use them like a whiteboard. It's like, you know what? There's this crazy thing called a whiteboard that doesn't require fucking expensive ass projector bulbs. You know what I mean? And expensive ass smart technology and all that shit. Like, what are we doing? It's like, oh, look, you can make it draw a circle. And it's like, why don't you just draw a circle? Oh, look, you can make it draw a little tree and you can stamp the tree. Why don't you just draw some trees? It's like, huh? Yeah, most of the teachers, like, even though our school district was huge into the smartboard thing, my summers used to be a thing called Promethean Camp, where teachers could electively come and learn more about smartboards. Most of the teachers didn't take advantage of it. The ones that did, I'd say about half of them maybe used it beyond a whiteboard in their class. It was just woebegone. Dude, I would walk into classrooms all the time to fix some other technology thing and see a teacher that had taped butcher paper over their smartboard and were writing on that. That's a $10 million per site investment in smartboards. And it's basically just a flat surface for a teacher to hang butcher paper up and draw on it with a marker. So yeah, a lot of problems going on in the school district. A lot of school-based problems that a lot of people just have absolutely no idea about. Too many parents are too technologically illiterate and too dazzled by, ooh, look at all these nice computers. While their kid sits in a class with 50 other fucking stinking kids. Give me a break. One of my teachers had a little sliver of blackboard left. That's all he used. Never touched the smartboard. Yeah. Yeah. Man. A lot of sweeping up having to be done today. Just too stoopy. But once again, what are we talking about? A lot of you are the beneficiaries of a broken educational system. So, what can I expect? So how many times can I reply to someone before it's considered a side conversation? Just ban him. You can't reply to anybody. You can't at anybody in this chat if it ain't me. Because I read the chat and I respond to it. And when you're having a fucking 10 deep side conversation, nobody hears a fucking thing. How do you feel about teachers' unions? They're a mixed bag, right? One of the problems that I had with teachers' unions while I worked for the school district was the way that the union is used to shield shitty teachers, right? So coming from a blue-collar union background, if you have a worker that's dragging ass and dragging everybody else down besides, that's a different thing than somebody getting scuttled out of a job, right? Everybody pulled their weight at a blue collar union. There were teachers that were the beneficiaries of union job protection that should have been fired. They were worthless as teachers, absolutely pointless as teachers, right? Hated their job, shitty at their job, shitty at the technology, shitty at handling kids. You'd go to handle a fucking thing in their classroom and it was just chaos and dirty, filthy classrooms, checked out teachers. And they just, and when they underperform at the school, they don't get fired, they get moved to another school. It's the same way that the Catholic Church treats pedophile priests. Oh, yeah, that's a problem. Let's move him to another parish. Oh, yeah, that teacher fucking sucks. Let's move her to another school. Let's move him to another fucking district. It just doesn't work, man. That doesn't work. That's something that is inherent in a blue collar system. If you're a fuck up, nobody's going to carry your water for you in a blue collar union. That just ain't the way it works. You pull your weight. And everybody else pulls their weight besides. You pull your weight together. That's a union. A union isn't protecting the worst people among you and allowing them to be a drain on your overall fucking existence. Makes no sense. So it's the same shit, right? I see it as no different, right, from a functional standpoint than the Catholic Church taking a suspect priest and moving him around. You got a shitty teacher that is not doing their job. Their kids are wild in the class is filthy, they're not learning anything. Teacher doesn't or can't use any of their technology. They're just retarded, overwhelmed, hate their job, checked out, waiting for their pension to kick in. Those teachers should be capital G gone. This is not an assembly line where there's a an acceptable margin of error in product, and you can just let somebody skate by. These are children. These are human beings. These are the human beings that you're going to be dealing with in 10 years as adults. There's hardly any more important person in that child's life than their teacher, right? Their parents, their siblings, and their teacher. That's the core of that child's life. Yeah, I mean, but part of the problem with having students grade the teacher or whatever is that, a grade, if you're going to assign a grade, you would hope that there's some level of expertise in that grade being assigned. And kids are just not prepared. They're not prepared to make like a serious assessment of their teachers. So it would just be pointless. Maybe in 20 years with a revamped public education system, maybe that becomes something we can talk about. But as of right now, not a fucking chance. I think Trump was a C minus or less. I don't know. Who the fuck knows? He probably went to a bunch of private schools. So, well, I mean, how do you trust any of that? Like, dad's paying $2 million for your education, and he's not going to accept C's from the administration. So, do you think they need to remove the pornographic children's books? What? Dude, what are you smoking? Dude, you just been fucking stay watching Alex Jones and shit, don't you? Oof. But yeah, that's another little like half screwed in flickering light bulb. Just a great like object lesson. You know what I mean? Somebody that's a grown ass adult that's so stupid and incapable of judging the veracity of claims that they've been led to believe that elementary school libraries are filled with porno. They're obsessed with grooming all day. That's what I'm talking about, man. It creates brain broken motherfuckers. Brain broken. And they're just unleashed on the world for the rest of us to deal with. In Texas, the government wanted parents to be able to send their kids to private school by providing a grant. Unfortunately, Democrats opposed since they're in bed with the teachers union. Yeah, that sort of shit is bullshit. I got to tell you, like, in the years that I lived in Texas, I was impressed with what I knew about the school system in Texas. There are a lot of target schools. And, from what I knew about the school system there, it seemed like it was working pretty fucking well in comparison to California's. It wasn't perfect, but it seemed like from what I saw in the region I was in, it was doing pretty fucking well. So, yeah, I mean, those sorts of things definitely are problems. Like, it should be a universally politically aligned thing for children's education to be top notch. And the fact that it isn't in this country is wild. A lot of Catholic schools in Texas. California public schools must be horrible. Well, the ones I worked at were pretty bad, yeah. The situation at those schools was pretty fucking woebegone. I can't really speak for the whole state. Went to a sporting school and I saw students get a pass because they were the star. Oh, yeah. I mean, that's as old as the hills, though. Let the fucking quarterback slide and be retarded because he's probably going to get a college scholarship or something for football. Yeah, I mean that's old. That's a minimal problem in the face of what we're talking about. Anyway, I gotta go.